Okay, welcome back. So our next topic that we're going to discuss is the Roston stages of growth. So the idea behind this topic is that Roston was one economist who provided some indicator-based stages through which all countries have passed while achieving development. So he studied the history of development process via which countries developed throughout their history, and then he found some indicators that were there, and these indicators try to tell us when the country changes the development group. So suppose if there are four stages: low developed, medium developed, high medium developed, and very high developed. So if there are four stages and countries are passing through this from low developed to high developed, so Rastos gives us some indicators, and their changes were telling us that if the countries is going to the next stage or not. Means to say is that if there is improvement is an indicator, this will tell us that country is now jumping to the next group, and if there's further improvement it is going to other group. So each group, they were trying to give us specific properties, so as specific properties of that group. So hence, according to him, transition from underdeveloped, means low developed, to developed country can be described in terms of series of steps or stages which all countries must proceed. So if they means he is providing us the what you call it, prerequisites for graduating to the above development level for each country. So he studied the history and find out some prerequisites. So let's study these stages, and I will give you appropriate examples for each stage, and then we'll take questions at the end. First stage is a traditional society. So traditional society by name, you will understand the society where the cultural values are there. So predominantly agriculture production function and dependency. So these economies which are in the traditional society are predominantly related to agriculture side. They are we call it agrarian economies, which are depending upon the output of agriculture, and they are dependent upon that. So their economy is dependent upon the uh, product of productivity of agriculture. So countries has limited needs and demands. So since their output variety is very small, they are only agriculture country. So they are focusing on primary goods like agriculture foods, poultry food, meat, milk. And things produced from animals like fat, leather, ornaments. So since countries have so since their production is limited, so we talk about the classical theory that supply creates its own demand. So since there is limited supply, so there is limited demand. So classical say that supply will create a demand. So since the people do not know the variety of goods, so they will never imagine the need. So suppose you have never seen a mobile phone in your life. So how can you develop a need for having a mobile phone? So because you never seen a mobile phone, or it means you never seen anyone using a mobile phone to communicate or play games or do their work or increase their productivity. So the demand is depending upon visualizing the product, or imagining its gains, that what you can get, what you can do if you had the mobile phone. So since they didn't had any the luxury of secondary goods or industrial products or technology. So their needs and wants are limited. Okay, so and because they have never imagined it, so they are an ideal society where they believe that little is okay. Why? Because they do not know that if it is a little or more. For them, their indifference curve is depending upon the available goods. So they are already enjoying highest possible utility based upon the available goods and services, assuming that they don't know that there are more goods available. So very small variety of goods, services available in that economy because they are based upon primary goods. So the economy is depending upon traditions, customs, are and they are predominant and non-materialistic thinking in the masses. So because there is no, it's they are not materialistic. So the economy is not showing them the gains in the materialism. So they are living in traditions and customs. So mean there is some Kabila system. So it's with Q. It's a Kabila or Jirga system where there is some Chaudhary or some Sai or uh, uh, some Mister who is in charge of the society. So they are not materialistic. So political power is based upon feudalism. So feudalism means there is one family that is controlling the reins of the economy or the village or the town. So so example is pre-Islamic Arab region, or if you have seen the Turkish drama, so you will see that they predominantly the TV program of Ertugrul. So you can see the culture of traditional society is shown in that TV program in the Turkish region and near after the Islam and the pre-Islam. And the idea, the example is relevant because they are mostly feudalism and it's based upon Kabila or the system. There are no industries there to produce something, so they are mostly based upon agricultural goods. So that's why they don't have any supply that will create imagination, which will create demand. So supply will create its own demand. So I can will give one example that we visited one desert area of Pakistan, and there was one small house, small hut, in which one of the young worker labor was there. I asked him how much daily income is required for you to survive as a family. So he said, I only required 100 rupees daily to survive because for that I can get wheat and vegetables to survive for that day. So I asked how it is possible to survive a day at this income. So he said, since we don't go to the market, our children do not know what are toys, what is a burger, what is fast food, and they don't know what is the what is luxury clothes. So they don't have imagination of the things that are available in the market. They live very far away in within the desert. So since their children or the females or the males in the family do not have any imagination or they have never seen the commercial life and they never seen the variety of goods that are available in the economy, so they never demand it. That's why they can survive at such small income. So this is an example of traditional society. So let's move towards next one. Next, it talks about the preconditions to take off. That when an economy tries to move towards the next point, that is pre-takeoff. So in that situation, in that state, what are the characteristics? People tend to take interest in education, modernization, and willing to accept change. So you will notice that in that system, people tend to get higher education. Some of the people tend to go to schools and they try to finish primary and go towards secondary schools, and they try to adopt modernization in their agriculture. They tend to buy a tractor, or they tend to buy the mechanizations. Mechanization means they tend to buy relevant machines which can help them to modernize, and they are willing to accept a change. So their society is trying to accept the modern culture, modern changes in the society, or so that they can grow. So in that situation, centralized based, state-based political system develops. They move to from political the feudal system towards central government or central state system. So it becomes a state where even if there is one political power, one family on the top, but they have their secretaries or wazirs, or their advisors to run the different regions of the state. So increase in efficiency and agriculture productivity. How? Because they are adopting the modernization. So you will notice that when the country is within on in the stage of preconditions to take off, they tend to increase agriculture productivity. And people start to think about business ideas. They tend to create shops. They tend to start new businesses. They tend to create brands or shops to sell their output, most probably agriculture based goods. So this is also a type of entrepreneurship, that rather than they are selling to a shop owner or wholesale market, they tend to make their own shop. And in this system, urbanizations take place. It means that people tend to move towards the urban areas and cities to find jobs and earn their living. So this indicates the uh, this indicates the precondition to take off stage. So this example includes the early stages of independence of Pakistan, where most of the population was living in the rural areas, and they were trying to move towards the urban regions. So let's move towards the next point. So let's clear the screen. Next is the takeoff stage. So what is happening in the takeoff stage is that education spreads. So you will notice schools, colleges, and some universities opening up in a country. Okay, so if you study the stage of uh, before Musharraf's time period in Pakistan, there were only 15 universities in the Pakistan. 15 universities which had many branches across many cities. 15 registered universities. Now, when Musharraf developed HEC, it promoted the university development culture, and what happened was that it led to increase the number of universities. Now, the in Pakistan, the university number has increased manifold. I don't have the exact number, but it is way more than 15 now. Okay. So that's okay. So then entrepreneurship becomes a trend, means since people are becoming skilled, so more shops are opening up, more ideas are coming up. So people are trying to go towards unique things that we studied in economics, that people tend to become um, differentiated, so that they get jobs, or they get ideas, or they can publish their patents, or they can start their unique businesses. So they start to move from perfect competitive markets towards monopolistic markets, which indicate their what you call it, entrepreneurial orientation. In that economy, technology also develops, which already discussed that the people go towards patents and ideas which will increase technology. Then, because their people are becoming skilled, so they develop secondary goods, and that will develop through industrialization. So they will make industries where they will develop, transform their primary goods to secondary or final goods, which is done through industrialization. Then in that takeoff stage, the most important indicator is their saving rate will increase, and people tend to know that saving is important, and it comes under important heading that is called financial literacy. Financial literacy. So precondition to take off was talking about education, that is just market education or the specific specialization, but it was not talking about financial literacy. In the takeoff stage, people tend to learn about the financial system, they learn about the banking system, they learn about saving accounts, they learn about insurance, they learn about bonds, they learn about stock market. So the knowledge related to financial system tends to increase in the economy. So this is an indicator of the country is now taking off. Okay. Next is drive to maturity. So country becomes mature. Okay. So what happened is they tend to move toward R&D, research and development. They there are changes in production system in terms of efficiency and automation. Automation means they tend to include computers in their decision making so that their process becomes faster. The trend of invention, innovation, and specialization becomes a trend. Country becomes more self-sufficient with vast production capacity. They tend to produce more than their needs, and so that they are able to export. So this is an indicator of driving towards maturity. So there's a competition in the market in terms of selling the goods, because there are many sellers now available in the market, because sellers are the educated people are creating jobs and creating production. So now you will notice increase in sellers, so which will create competition, and it will also increase the variety of goods and services in the market. So suppose if there is only one type of clothing brand, so it will not focus on the innovation or variety, because they know that they don't have to, because they are a monopoly. Okay. Now, but if there are many sellers and they need to sell and to achieve their sales target, what they have to do is they have to innovate and create new varieties of clothes. That is happening in many countries which are in the drive to maturity state. Services sector, which include tourism and amusement, expands. Means the countries are now industrialized. They are trying to earn more through tourism and amusement and financial services. Industrial sector becomes the dominant in output. So their major share of out so industry is industry has highest share in GDP. So they are industrialized. Then they are thinking about tourism and amusement and financial services. And these countries are almost 100% literacy. Pakistan is only 60% literacy rate. So it means Pakistan is not reaching this stage currently. So Pakistan is in trade deficit. Pakistan might have good variety of goods. Pakistan is not has highest share in industry, having highest share. Pakistan is not moving towards R&D nationally. There are some centers that are working on it. So if you think about Pakistan, so Pakistan has not reached this stage yet. So, but the properties I've discussed here. So let's move towards next point. Next is stage number 5, which is high mass consumption. So with the name, you can notice that when a country reaches this stage, people are so rich that there is very high volume of consumption. Means at this stage, their people are, they have increased the GDP so high that the per capita income of their people is now so much that they tend to spend in luxury goods. So the volume of their consumption is very high. So they are buying expensive goods, luxury goods. So that's why it is very high. So in this economy, because the people are 100% literate, so they know if the product that is being sold in the market is good quality or not. Okay? So it means consumer becomes the king of the market. So it means that if some seller tries to sell low quality good or harmful good for their health, so customer will not buy it, and they will push the seller out of the market because they are aware, they are literate. If some consumer notices that the seller is say, using low quality or degraded goods, so he will share it on social media, and because everyone is aware, everyone is literate, so they will listen to each other and they will stop buying that product. And you can notice that this is not happening in Pakistan. So nobody listens to customer. Even if the food authority of Pakistan is sharing the video of their low quality of their seller, still people tend to buy from them. So, but in this stage, customer becomes the king of the market. And in this stage, services sector expands. There is an expansion in the service sector in terms of financial services, which includes stock market, stockbroker, insurance, bonds, T-bills, banking sectors, saving accounts, long-term the leasings, the house purchase, the house financing. So the banking sector is so mature that you can get help from the system for any need. Then there is developed tourism sector, just like in Turkey, just like in Europe. So there is a very, very mature and very managed tourism sector. The countries are producing high quality goods and which has highest productivity. So if you compare agriculture productivity of Pakistan with Japan, you will notice that they are producing 20 times more than what we are producing from our land. We are still using the flood based irrigation method, which takes so much which wastes the water because, and it also takes time. But now the world is doing the sprinkler system. Let me click it. Sprinkler system or drip based system. So they install pipes below the plants, and they just sprinkle or drop drip of water near to the plant so that their requirement is fulfilled. So it takes very less water and very less time, and the flood will not harm the other ecosystem. So this is one example that is not there in Pakistan, and high mass consumption countries are using it. They are also adding automation. So there was one experiment in France that they allocated two lands for strawberry production. In one land, farmers were there, they were doing manual labor to produce strawberries. In another land, they were using drones and technologies to and allow the computer to manage the productivity of that strawberries. And surprisingly, they found out that computers were more efficient in producing strawberries. Okay, so in that high mass consumption, the technology is actually the major agent. Then there are too many variants of products. People are confused which variant to buy, because when you go to the shop, you will find 50 types of biscuits, 100 types of crisps, or 100 types of soft drinks. So a new person will be very confused which one they should buy. So and consumer is the king of the market, means consumer will define which product will stay in the market and which will not. So this is actually the Keynesian school of thought, that demand creates its own supply. So because people are now educated, they have imagination, so they will demand a particular type of good. And since they are skilled enough, one of them will come up as an entrepreneur and create that good. So it means demand will create its own supply. So this is the logic, or this is the construction, or this is the characteristics of the stage 5 of high mass consumption countries. So one type is left. Let me conclude it. That is beyond high mass consumption, and only USA is there. So when you notice what are the characteristics of this state, is that the country become fully welfare state. The government is providing free health, free education, and providing the unemployment benefits, education benefits. So it becomes a fully welfare state. There are many countries which are fully welfare, but other characteristics are not there. Since the government, since humans and governments are greedy in nature, so when the country reaches this beyond high mass consumption state, what is happening is that their lust for power goes beyond natural boundaries. They tend to control the decision making in other regions. Okay, so America is trying to control what is happening in other countries. So they will tend to influence international decisions. They have the they have the veto power in the United Nations. They have the power to stop Pakistan to do something. They have the power to add sanctions on Iran. They have the power to stop contracts in Pakistan. So this is an example of beyond high mass consumption country. Means they are so developed that now they have the power to control the decisions in other countries, and they are doing it. So this is the stage number 6. Hope it is clear for you. So let me clear it first. So while discussing critical review, it is noted that climbing the stages is not necessarily automatic. It doesn't mean that if you are in the takeoff stage, you will automatically go towards drive to maturity. It's not automatic that if you are in class 3, but at the end of the year you will be promoted to class 4. You have to do something to go there, or you can also go back. But in our in a class system, you can stay there, but you cannot go back. So here in that stage, even if he had made stages, but it doesn't mean that it is automatic. Okay. Secondly, he has not clarified any numerical criteria that will tell how to climb on stages. So he has given some statistics or numbers, but he had not provided any policy that can tell us how to climb the stages. Similarly, some countries are stuck, like Sri Lanka, which has 100% literacy rate. Okay, therefore, therefore no estimated time to climb a stage. So, Rostow didn't provide any estimated time that is required to climb any specific stage. Okay, so no necessary sufficient conditions are provided. So he has given facts and figures, but he has not said that which is necessary or which is sufficient, which is prerequisite. So, but when we conclude it, what it does it say is Roston used saving and investment as an indicator that increase. If it is increased, it is a major indicator. It assumes that institutional labor motivations will come automatically. Means he's saying that if we tend to save more, the institutions and labor sector will develop automatically. But the developing countries, this is a major issues like working attitude, motivation to succeed, innovation, and self-reliance. It doesn't come automatically. But the theory, the study that the stages that he described was talking about this. So this was the discussion of Rostron stages of economic growth. So if you have any questions, you can ask or you can write in the chat. Thank you very much.